When someone leaves your life, maybe a friend, maybe a partner, maybe someone you trusted, it feels as if a part of you goes missing. You begin to wonder what went wrong. Was I not good enough? Did I say something wrong? Am I not worthy of love? And before you know it, your entire happiness begins to revolve around that single person who chose to walk away. But here's a truth that can completely change how you live. Your value does not depend on who values you. Imagine this for a moment. You hold 1,000 rupee note in your hand. If I ask, who wants this note? Everyone will raise their hand. But if I crush it, step on it, and make it dirty, then ask again, who still wants it? Every hand will still go up. Why? Because no matter what I do to that note, its value doesn't change. The same is true for you. You can be rejected, criticized, ignored, or even betrayed. But your value, your inner worth, your essence remains untouched. The world is full of people trying to feel enough. We chase relationships, compliments, and validation like thirsty travelers in a desert. We scroll through social media, counting likes, comparing lives, believing that someone else's attention gives us meaning. But tell me honestly, can the number of likes on your photo measure the depth of your kindness? Can someone's opinion about you define the beauty of your soul? No, it cannot. A woman once came to me and said, I gave everything to him, my time, my heart, my patience, and he still left. I feel worthless. I smiled gently and told her, you gave love, and love can never make you worthless. His inability to value you says something about him, not you. Think about it. When someone doesn't see your worth, it's like a person closing their eyes to the sun. The sun doesn't stop shining, it simply shines somewhere else. The problem is that most of us are taught to measure our worth externally, through grades, through praise, through relationships. From childhood, we hear, if you do well, people will like you. And so, we grow up trying to earn love, to deserve attention, to prove ourselves. But love, my friends, is not something you earn by performance. You don't become worthy because someone approves of you. You are worthy because you exist. You are worthy because life itself chose you to be here. Let me share a simple example from everyday life. Suppose you cook a beautiful meal for your family. You put your heart into it, but one person says, it's too salty. Does that mean the meal is ruined? Maybe for them, yes. But for another person, it might be perfect. That's exactly how people's opinions work. Some will love your flavor, some won't. But that doesn't mean you stop cooking, or worse, that you stop believing in your ability to make something beautiful. The secret to peace is this: don't let your mood be controlled by someone else's behavior. You can't control how people see you, but you can control how you see yourself. When you start believing that you are enough, not because someone told you so, but because you feel it within, life changes. You stop chasing, you stop begging, and you start being. There's a kind of quiet power that comes from self-acceptance. When you know your worth, you no longer need to prove it. You stop over-explaining. You stop apologizing for existing. You start walking with grace, not arrogance. Because confidence isn't about thinking you're better than others. It's about not needing to compare yourself to anyone at all. Think of a flower in a garden. It doesn't look at the flower beside it and say, Oh, she's more beautiful than me. It simply blooms. The sun doesn't compete with the moon. They both shine when it's their time. You too have your own moment to shine. Stop dimming your light just because someone else refused to see it. The moment you understand that your worth is constant, like the value of that 1,000 rupee note, you stop attaching your peace to people who are temporary. Some people will like you, some won't. Some will appreciate you today and forget you tomorrow. That's human nature. Don't take it personally. People come and go, but your value stays the same. Every day, remind yourself, I am not who others think I am who I know myself to be. If you are honest, kind, and doing your best, that's all that matters. The right people will always recognize your worth. You won't have to shout for it. And when you start believing in your worth, something magical happens. The world starts reflecting it back. You begin to attract peace, not chaos. Respect, not pity. Love that is real, not love that drains you. Because the universe mirrors the way you treat yourself. If you walk with confidence, life opens doors. If you walk with doubt, life gives you tests. So, the next time someone rejects you or disrespects you, instead of asking, why don't they value me? Ask, why am I allowing them to? The lesson is not to close your heart, but to open your eyes. Value yourself enough to walk away from anything that constantly makes you question your worth. My friends, remember this: gold never advertises its value. People just know. You don't need to convince anyone of your worth. Just be yourself, authentic, kind, strong, and let time reveal your shine. Those who truly see you will stay. Those who don't were never meant to walk your path. You are not defined by someone's inability to appreciate you. You are defined by your ability to keep shining even when they don't. The sun doesn't stop rising because a few clouds hide its light. It simply waits and shines again. So rise every morning knowing that no person, no rejection, and no loss can ever reduce your value. You are whole. You are complete. You are already enough. And once you live from that truth, no one in the world can make you feel small again. Being kind is one of the most beautiful qualities a human being can have. The world is already full of harshness, competition, and noise, and kindness feels like a gentle melody that heals everything it touches. But sometimes, in the name of kindness, we forget something very important. We let people walk over us. We let others misuse our softness, our forgiveness, our giving nature. And slowly, we begin to lose ourselves in the process of pleasing everyone. True kindness is never about allowing others to hurt you. It's about being good-hearted, but also being wise enough to protect your peace. Imagine this. There's a woman who always says yes. She says yes when she's tired. Yes when she's overwhelmed. Yes even when she's silently breaking inside. She fears that saying no might make her look rude, selfish, or unkind. But every yes she gives to others is a silent no to herself. One day, she looks in the mirror and realizes she has nothing left to give. Her kindness turned into exhaustion. Her love turned into a burden, and her smile became something she forced. This happens to so many of us. We confuse kindness with weakness. We think being good means accepting everything and everyone, even when they drain our energy. But kindness is not about how much pain you can tolerate in silence. It's about how much truth you can speak with love. You can be kind and still say, "This is not okay." You can be caring and still say, "I need space." You can forgive someone without allowing them to hurt you again. A daily life example: imagine you're at work and your colleague constantly dumps their tasks on you because they know you'll never say no. You tell yourself, "It's fine, I'll help." But over time, you start staying late, missing family time, losing sleep, and the resentment builds. Your kindness has now become your cage. True kindness in that situation would be to politely say, "I wish I could help, but I have my own responsibilities to complete." That's not rude, that's honest. It's self-respect with grace. You see, even a tree has boundaries. It provides shade, fruits, and oxygen. But if someone tries to cut it down, it doesn't just stand there silently. It resists, it protects itself. Why? Because self-preservation is a part of nature's design. We humans are no different. You can't pour from an empty cup, and you can't light up others' paths if your own flame is dying. Some people will tell you, if you're really kind, you should tolerate everything. That's not kindness. That's self-neglect disguised as virtue. There's a difference between helping someone and being used by someone. When you don't know the difference, you lose control of your life. Being kind doesn't mean you let people disrespect you. It means you treat them with compassion, even when you're setting firm boundaries. Think of kindness as water. It flows gently, it nourishes life. But when it's blocked or misused, it overflows and causes destruction. The same happens with our emotions. If you keep giving without balance, your kindness can turn into bitterness. Because deep down, you start asking, why does no one care for me the way I care for them? The answer is simple. You taught them that your time, your energy, and your feelings didn't need care. You trained them to believe that you would always be available, no matter what. One of the greatest lessons life teaches us is that you can be kind without being naive. You can have a soft heart with a strong spine. You can care deeply, but still protect your soul. It's about learning to say no without guilt and yes without fear. I remember meeting a woman who was always the problem solver for everyone, her friends, her family, her coworkers. She was everyone's emotional shelter. But one day, she broke down and said, "When I needed someone, nobody was there." You know why that happens? Because people get used to your strength. They assume you're fine because you've always been fine. They forget that the strongest people also need kindness. So remember, just because you're strong doesn't mean you should carry every burden. You deserve the same care you give so freely to others. Don't apologize for taking time for yourself. Don't feel guilty for walking away from people who constantly take advantage of your goodness. The world doesn't need martyrs of kindness. It needs examples of balanced kindness. People who give with love, but also live with dignity. Here's a simple truth. Kindness and boundaries go hand in hand. Without boundaries, kindness becomes weakness. With boundaries, kindness becomes powerful. When you start saying no to what drains you, you're actually saying yes to what heals you. Think of your favorite teacher, or mentor, or spiritual guide. They are kind, right? But they are also disciplined. They don't tolerate disrespect, yet they speak with warmth. They know that real kindness doesn't always sound soft. Sometimes it sounds like truth. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for someone is not to comfort their bad behavior, but to lovingly correct it. There will be times when you will have to step back from people you love, not because you hate them, but because you love yourself enough not to let their chaos destroy your peace. That's maturity. That's real kindness to your own soul. So the next time someone tells you, you've changed, smile and say, I've learned. Because change is not betrayal, it's growth. You're not supposed to remain the same person who tolerated pain silently. You're supposed to evolve into someone who knows her worth and still chooses kindness, but from strength, not from fear. Remember, kindness without wisdom is like light without direction. It shines but gets lost. But when your kindness has boundaries, it becomes a force that inspires others. People begin to respect you, not because you demand it, but because you live it. So keep being kind, keep being gentle, but never, ever forget your own value in the process. You are not here to be walked over. You are here to walk with grace. When your heart is kind and your boundaries are strong, your presence becomes a blessing, not just to others, but to yourself too. There is a certain kind of beauty in being comfortable with your own company, a peace that cannot be found in crowded rooms, loud conversations, or constant attention. Yet, many people fear solitude. They think being alone means being lonely. But there is a vast difference between loneliness and aloneness. Loneliness is the absence of others. Aloneness is the presence of yourself. And once you learn to enjoy your own company, you will never depend on others to fill the silence of your soul. Imagine this: you walk into a cafe alone. You order your favorite drink, sit by the window, and simply watch life move. People laughing, cars passing, the sun filtering through the glass. For many, this might feel uncomfortable. They'll pick up their phone immediately, pretending to be busy, because sitting quietly with themselves feels foreign. But if you dare to stay in that moment, you start to notice something magical: the sound of your thoughts, the calm in your breath, the beauty in simplicity. That is where true peace lives, not in the noise of company, but in the silence of presence. Most people are so afraid of being alone that they settle for half love, half friendships, half connections, anything that fills the empty space for a while. But the truth is, if you don't enjoy your own company, you'll always depend on others to entertain you, validate you, or complete you. You'll never truly feel free. The person who learns to be content in solitude becomes unstoppable because they no longer chase people. They attract them. Their peace becomes magnetic. We live in a world that glorifies business. If you're alone, people assume something's wrong. Don't you have friends? Don't you feel bored? They ask. But being alone is not a weakness, it's a form of strength. It means you are no longer afraid to face your own thoughts. You are no longer escaping your reality through noise or distraction. You are becoming your own best friend. Think of it this way: when your phone's battery is low, you put it on charge. But when your soul is drained, what do? You often run to others to recharge you. Yet, no one can fill that space but you. Spending time alone is how you reconnect with your inner charger. It's where you reflect, reset, and realign. Some of the greatest discoveries in life come from silence, from moments when you just sit with yourself and ask, who am I? What do I truly want? What makes me feel alive? Let's take a simple everyday example. Imagine a woman who spends her evenings constantly surrounded by people, social gatherings, phone calls, endless scrolling on social media. One day she decides to spend an evening alone. At first, it feels strange. The silence feels heavy, but slowly she starts reading a book she's been meaning to, or maybe journaling, or watching the sunset. In that quiet space, she starts to realize what truly matters to her, not what the world tells her should matter. That's how solitude turns into self awareness. When you enjoy your own company, you stop seeking approval. You stop begging for attention. You start making choices that align with your heart instead of what others expect of you. You begin to listen to the soft voice within that says, "This is right for me." And that voice becomes your guide, your strength, your peace. There's a reason why nature is often silent. The mountains don't need to shout to be majestic. The ocean doesn't need to explain its depth. They simply are. Likewise, when you are comfortable in your own presence, you don't need to prove your worth through noise. Your calmness becomes your confidence. Learning to enjoy solitude is also learning to heal. When you spend time alone, the pain you've been avoiding begins to surface. Memories, disappointments, regrets. It's uncomfortable at first, but that's where transformation begins. Healing can't happen when you keep running. It happens when you stop, breathe, and face yourself with compassion. It's in solitude that you learn to forgive yourself for mistakes, to let go of what you can't change, and to find gratitude for what remains. I once met a woman who had gone through a painful breakup. She told me, "I can't stand being alone. It reminds me of everything I lost." I told her gently, "It's not the loneliness that hurts. It's the lack of connection with yourself." A few months later, she started spending her mornings walking in the park, journaling and meditating. She told me something beautiful. "For the first time, I feel at home with myself." That's what solitude does. It brings you home. Spending time alone doesn't mean cutting the world off. It means you return to the world from a place of fullness, not need. You give love freely because you have enough within. You speak kindly because you have peace inside. You become a source of light rather than someone always seeking it. Think of how powerful it is to sit in silence and still feel complete. No one calling your name, no one complimenting you. Just you, breathing, existing, being. That is when you realize you don't need constant company to feel alive. You simply need to be present. So many people are afraid of being alone because they think solitude is emptiness. But solitude is not empty, it is full. Full of awareness, full of clarity, full of strength. It's where your creativity blooms, where your intuition grows, and where your heart learns to rest. When you can sit by yourself and feel content, that's when you become truly powerful. Because the person who needs nothing from the world has everything within. When you can enjoy a walk without headphones, a meal without company, or a sunset without a camera, you've reached a level of peace that can't be shaken. So, learn to enjoy your own company. Take yourself out for coffee. Sit by the window and listen to your thoughts. Laugh alone. cry alone, dream alone, not because you don't need others, but because you finally learned how to need yourself. The most beautiful relationship you will ever have is the one you build with your own soul. And once you fall in love with your solitude, no one can ever make you feel lonely again. Sometimes in life, the hardest thing to accept is that you may never get the answers you're looking for. You may never hear that apology you deserve or that explanation that could help you understand why someone hurt you, betrayed you, or walked away. You wait for a message that never comes, a conversation that never happens, and a closure that never arrives. But here's the truth: sometimes silence is your closure. Sometimes not hearing from them is the loudest message of all. We live in a world where people come and go without warning. A friend suddenly stops talking. Someone you love changes overnight. You're left with questions. Why did this happen? What did I do wrong? Don't I deserve an answer? You replay moments in your mind, analyzing every detail, trying to make sense of it all. But closure doesn't always come through words. It often comes through acceptance. The acceptance that not everything broken can be fixed. Not every story gets a proper ending, and not everyone who leaves was meant to return. Think about this in daily life. Imagine you had a friend you were very close to, someone you shared everything with. One day, they simply drift away. They stop calling, stop replying, stop caring. You reach out again and again, but nothing changes. Your heart aches for closure. You want to ask, what happened? Did I do something? But you don't get a reply. Slowly, you realize that the silence itself is the answer. They're gone, and they've chosen not to explain. That realization hurts deeply at first, but in time, it sets you free. Because closure isn't about someone else explaining their actions. It's about you making peace with what happened. Even when you don't understand it, when you keep waiting for others to give you closure, you hand them the power to control your peace. But when you decide, I may never know why, and that's okay, you take your power back. You stop being the prisoner of unanswered questions and start being the author of your healing. The truth is, people leave for reasons you may never see. Sometimes they're dealing with their own pain, their own confusion, their own immaturity. Sometimes they simply don't have the courage to face you or take responsibility for what they did. Waiting for closure from someone like that is like waiting for the waves to stop moving. It will never happen. Instead, you must find closure in your own heart, not in their words. There's a quiet wisdom in learning to let go without understanding. It teaches you patience, strength, and faith. It teaches you that life isn't always about fixing, but about moving forward gracefully. When someone leaves you without explanation, instead of asking, why did they do this to me? Try asking, what is life trying to teach me through this? That shift changes everything. It turns your pain into growth. Think of nature. When a tree loses its leaves in autumn, it doesn't demand to know why. It doesn't cry for them to come back. It trusts that spring will bring new leaves. In the same way, when people or situations leave your life, it's not always a punishment. Sometimes it's preparation. You're being cleared for something new, something better, but you can't receive what's next if you keep staring at the closed door behind you. I once met a woman who had been heartbroken for years. The man she loved simply disappeared one day. No fight, no goodbye, just silence. She said to me, I can't move on until I know why. I told her gently, maybe the reason you don't know is because knowing wouldn't help. Maybe the lesson is not in their answer, but in your ability to let go without one. Months later, she told me, I stopped looking for closure. I started building myself instead, and now I'm happier than I've ever been. That's what real closure feels like. Peace that comes from within, not from anyone else. When you stop chasing explanations, you make space for healing. You stop reopening old wounds that can't be healed by the person who caused them. You stop trying to rewrite the past and start focusing on writing your future. Because sometimes the best closure is moving on so gracefully that you make the past irrelevant. We often believe that closure means talking things out, making peace with the other person. But sometimes, closure means walking away quietly, choosing silence over chaos, choosing peace over answers. You don't need their sorry. You don't need their justification. You don't even need them to admit they were wrong. All you need is to forgive them in your heart and wish them well from afar, not for them, but for yourself. Because forgiveness doesn't mean they were right. It means you refuse to let their wrongness define your happiness any longer. Think about how many sleepless nights we waste over people who have already moved on. How many times we read old messages or scroll through memories, hoping to find a clue that explains everything. But life doesn't always give explanations. Sometimes it just gives silence, and silence, my friend, is sacred. It teaches you to listen to yourself, to rediscover your own strength, to trust that you don't need answers to heal. The moment you stop searching for closure outside and find it inside yourself, you win. You free your heart from dependency. You realize you are the closure, your peace, your growth, your forgiveness. That's all the ending you need. So if someone left you without a word, don't wait for them to return and tie up the loose ends. Tie them yourself with love and dignity. Say to yourself, they played their part in my story, and now their chapter is over. I don't need to hate them, and I don't need to understand them. I just need to thank them for the lesson and move forward. One day, you'll look back and realize that not getting closure was a gift. It forced you to heal without dependence. It made you stronger, wiser, and more at peace with yourself. You'll see that their silence taught you to listen to your own heart more deeply. And that's when you'll know closure isn't something someone gives you, it's something you create. It's when you stop waiting for the past to explain itself and start living for the future that's waiting for you. Every pain, every heartbreak, every disappointment you have ever faced has not come to destroy you. It has come to prepare you. Life has a mysterious way of shaping us through the very moments that break us. What you think is the end is often the beginning of something far greater. But in the middle of the storm, it's hard to see that. When the heart aches, when tears fall for reasons you don't understand, it's natural to ask, why is this happening to me? Yet, one day you'll look back and realize that the pain you thought would ruin, you actually built the strongest version of you. Imagine a seed buried deep in the dark soil. It feels the weight of the earth pressing down, the coldness, the suffocation. If it could speak, it might say, "Why am I trapped here?" But slowly, that same pressure forces it to grow roots, to reach for light, to become something beautiful. Without the darkness, there would be no sprouting. Without the struggle, no strength. The seed's burial was not its death, it was its transformation. That's exactly how life works. When pain buries you, it's not the end, it's your beginning. Think about your own life. Maybe you've gone through a heartbreak that shattered your faith in love. Maybe someone betrayed you and you lost your trust in people. Or maybe you faced failure after giving your best effort. In those moments, it's easy to feel like life is unfair. You feel like you're breaking apart. But slowly, quietly, pain becomes your teacher. It introduces you to sides of yourself you never knew existed. Resilience, patience, inner strength, faith. Pain doesn't just hurt, it teaches. It carves depth into your soul. There's a saying that a diamond is just a piece of coal that handled pressure well. The coal doesn't complain about the pressure, it endures it, transforms under it, and emerges radiant. Likewise, your struggles are shaping you into something precious. The more you resist pain, the longer it lingers. But the moment you surrender and learn from it, it turns into wisdom. Let's take a daily example. Imagine a woman who worked tirelessly for a promotion at her job, giving her best effort, sacrificing weekends, believing she'd finally be recognized. But when the promotion was given to someone else, she felt devastated. For days, she questioned her worth and her capabilities. Months later, because she didn't get that position, she left that company and started her own business. Something she'd always dreamed of, but never had the courage to do. That failure became her redirection. What felt like rejection was actually protection. Life closed one door because it was leading her toward another one meant only for her. Pain is like that. It redirects you, refines you, and reveals your true strength. You may not see it while you're in it, but pain is shaping your character in silence. Every time your heart breaks, it expands your capacity to love again, but more wisely. Every time you fail, you gain the clarity to succeed differently. Every time you're betrayed, you learn who truly deserves your loyalty. Life's lessons rarely come wrapped in comfort. They often come wrapped in pain. When you see someone smiling confidently, living with grace, don't assume their life has been easy. Behind every peaceful face is a storm they survived. Behind every strong person is a story of battles fought in silence. The people who inspire us most are not those who've lived easy lives, but those who turned their pain into purpose. You, too, can do that. You can take your broken pieces and build something beautiful out of them. Sometimes pain strips away everything that isn't real. It takes away false friendships, superficial dreams, and unhealthy attachments. It cleans your path so you can rebuild with truth. It's like a sculptor chiseling away at stone. The process looks violent, but each strike reveals the masterpiece hidden within. When life feels like it's chiseling away at you, remember that it's not destroying you, it's revealing you. One day, you'll thank your pain. You'll thank the person who left, because their absence taught you to stand tall on your own. You'll thank the job you lost, because it pushed you towards something greater. You'll thank the moments of darkness because they made you appreciate the light. Gratitude will replace bitterness once you understand that everything that hurt you was a part of your growth. There's an old story about a butterfly struggling to emerge from its cocoon. A man, feeling sorry for it, gently cuts the cocoon open to help. The butterfly comes out easily, but its wings are weak, unable to fly. What the man didn't realize is that the struggle of pushing through the cocoon is what strengthens the butterfly's wings. Without that struggle, it can never take flight. That's how life works for us too. The struggle you face is what prepares you for your wings. So the next time you're in pain, instead of asking, "Why me?" try whispering, "What is this teaching me?" The shift in that one question can change your entire perspective. Because pain doesn't come to punish you, it comes to prepare you for the next version of yourself. It's like the fire that purifies gold. You may feel the heat, but you'll come out shining brighter. There will be moments when you'll feel broken beyond repair. But brokenness is not the end. It's just the point where something new can begin. Like glass that's been shattered, you can choose to gather the pieces and create a mosaic, something even more beautiful than before. You don't need to erase your pain, you need to use it. Let your pain become your power. Remember, every storm eventually runs out of rain. Every night eventually gives way to morning. Your pain, no matter how deep, will not last forever. It's just a season, a chapter, not your whole story. And when you finally emerge from it, you'll realize that it wasn't there to break you, it was there to make you. So, don't curse your pain. Don't hide from it. Embrace it, learn from it, and let it shape you into the person you were meant to be. Because the truth is, every pain is preparing you for strength, for purpose, for the beautiful life that's waiting on the other side of your healing.